Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you've been anywhere near enterprise tech lately, you know AI agents are absolutely everywhere. They are officially 2026's most hyped enterprise technology. But here's the thing. Depending on who you ask, the data about them is completely all over the place. Like, are they taking over the world or are they barely getting off the ground? Today, we're going to cut through all that massive noise, the hype, and the conflicting data. We're looking strictly at the numbers to give you the clear, grounded reality of AI agents in 2026. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the AI agent boom, decoding the adoption gap, seeing where agents actually deliver ROI, why these projects fail, a hidden security crisis, and finally, the future of agents. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the AI agent boom, covering market size and investment. To really understand the current landscape, we have to look at the sheer financial gravity of what's happening right now. Just take a look at this number, $376.3 billion. That is Gartner's projection for total AI agent software spending by 2027. To put that into perspective, spending is expected to hit around $206.5 billion in 2026, meaning we are looking at an 82% single-year increase. The stakes here are absolutely massive, and the capital flowing into this space is literally shifting the entire tech ecosystem. But despite this incredible surge in spending, the actual data surrounding deployment is kind of a mess. It's the most inconsistently measured technology of the year, because when you have this much cash on the line, well, everyone rushes to claim they're doing it, right? And that leads to a massive mess in the data that we need to untangle. Which brings us to Section 2, decoding the adoption gap, myth versus reality. If you read the headlines, you'll see wildly different reports on who is actually using these things. Seriously, ask yourself, how many organizations do you think actually use AI agents today? Is it a rare, cutting-edge thing, or is everybody already doing it? The answer you get depends entirely on who you ask, and more importantly, how they define the word use. Let's look at this deeply fractured analyst consensus. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer spread of these numbers. On the high end, C1 reports 95% of organizations are running agents. But all the way at the bottom, Menlo Ventures says only 16% are. So how can both be true? Well, it all comes down to definitions. C1 is measuring organizations running agents that perform basic IT or security tasks, things like simple automated workflows. Menlo Ventures, however, is measuring true agents, systems with planning, execution, and adaptive behavior. That massive gap between 16 and 95%, that is exactly the difference between running a basic automated script and deploying a true thinking agent at scale. Let's move on to Section 3, where agents deliver ROI, actions, and applications. Beyond the definitions, what happens when a true agentic system is actually deployed? According to the UK AI Safety Institute, the absolute most consequential shift we've seen in 2026 is that AI tools are moving from simply reading text to taking real-world actions. In just a 16-month period, the percentage of agent tools taking concrete actions, like sending emails, modifying files, or transferring funds, surged from 24% to 65%. They aren't just summarizing your meeting notes anymore. They're actually doing the heavy lifting. And customer-facing roles are leading the pack. Google Cloud data shows 49% of use cases are in customer service, followed closely by marketing and security operations at 46%. Departments are leveraging these acting agents for real, concrete gains, like much faster content creation and marketing and dramatically reduced response times to threats in security. But let's ground this in reality for a second. For the early adopters who actually get these systems into production, the success rates are remarkably high. 88% report seeing a positive ROI. But for the average individual worker, the gains are much more modest. Data from Section shows that 68% of AI-using employees are saving 4 hours or less per week. So while the organizational ROI is incredibly strong for the pioneers, the individual time savings haven't quite caught up to those flashy vendor headlines just yet. All right, Section 4, why agent projects fail, the reality check. We've talked about the massive investments, but now we need to hit the brakes. Deploying these systems is incredibly difficult. Gartner predicts that by the end of 2027, over 40% of all agentic AI projects will be canceled. Just let that sink in. Nearly half of these massive investments will be totally scrapped. The primary drivers? Escalating costs, unclear business value, and inadequate risk controls. Companies are buying into the hype without a clear business plan, and they are hitting a very, very expensive brick wall. And a massive part of why they hit that wall is something called agent washing. Because AI agent is the big buzzword of 2026, vendors are simply slapping the label on their old tech. They take basic, old-school chatbots, slap an AI agent sticker on them, and sell them at a premium. It's kind of like putting a Ferrari badge on a lawnmower. In fact, Gartner found that out of thousands of vendors claiming agentic capabilities, only about 130 were actually building genuine systems with real adaptive behavior. When you combine fake agents with poor planning, you get a recipe for failure. Just look at these core failure modes. According to Deloitte, only 21% of organizations have a mature governance model in place for AI. That means roughly 80% of organizations are trying to scale agents completely blind, without proper controls. Add to that the fact that performance quality remains the top technical barrier, and it's absolutely no surprise that MIT research shows 95% of broader generative AI pilots failed to deliver any measurable bottom-line impact.
Section 5, the hidden security crisis, identity and access. Those operational failures we just talked about, they're actually hiding a much more severe, fast-moving problem.
This opens up a massive security gap right beneath these automated systems, leading us to one chilling question. Who is actually logging in? When an email is sent, a file is modified, or funds are transferred, is it a human or is it an autonomous agent? And honestly, more importantly, who is managing the digital keys that the agent is holding? The statistics here are terrifying. According to C1 and the SANS Institute, 47% of organizations now actually have more non-human identities than human users. Yet only 22% have full visibility into them. It's an identity management nightmare. 80% of organizations experienced an identity-related breach in the past year alone. And here's the most shocking number. 92% of organizations fail to rotate machine credentials on a standard 90-day cycle. So we force humans to change their passwords constantly, but we've got this army of automated bots running around enterprise networks with totally stale passwords. Agent adoption isn't just a tech upgrade. It is quietly becoming a massive, urgent identity management crisis. Okay, let's bring the energy back up for Section 6, the future of agents looking to 2029. Fortunately, the industry is maturing incredibly fast to solve these exact hurdles. 2026 was essentially the year that interoperability finally standardized, and that is largely thanks to something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Originally open-sourced by Anthropic, it's now become this huge open standard, backed by major players like AWS, Google, and Microsoft. MCP basically acts as the connective tissue, allowing different agents and enterprise systems to securely and reliably talk to each other. The fact that MCP server deployments grew by more than 400% year over year is an incredibly optimistic sign that the plumbing for a truly agentic enterprise is successfully being laid down right now. Let's move to see how this builds over the next few years. Following the analyst forecasts, the trajectory is breathtaking. We go from just $750 million in horizontal agent spend in 2025 to 40% of all enterprise apps featuring task-specific agents by the end of 2026. Then, that monumental jump to $376 billion in total software spend by 2027. All of this culminates in Gartner's prediction for 2029 that 80% of common customer service issues will be resolved completely autonomously, without any human intervention at all. Which leaves us with this final, really profound thought to consider. As we rush toward a reality where digital agents hold credentials, make decisions, take actions, and even communicate directly with other digital agents, in a future where agents talk to agents, is your company ultimately managing its human workforce or its digital one? It's a massive operational shift, and the organizations that figure out how to govern both will for sure be the ones that own the future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking the right questions, and I'll catch you next time.